Hello, friends. So happy to have you here with us today at Radical Joy. If you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time with us, well, we're glad you're here. Each week, we're here with you talking to ourselves about things that weigh on our minds and hearts, hoping if you're dealing with something similar, we can adjust all our perspectives as we listen. Hey, if you're struggling with something that needs immediate attention, please know that help is available. Just dial 988 nationwide in the U.S. to reach the Mental Health and Suicide Crisis Hotline. All of us here at CLW Studios believe that mental health is a vital part of our well-being. The more people we meet and the more places we go, the more we realize how important it is to make people aware of the fact that there is no shame in enjoying the parts of your life that are incredible. It's time for some radical joy, and this week the three fingers pointing back at me are for our amazing guest, Elly Brown. Elly lived a full life as a freelance performer, acting, hosting, singing, and modeling until oral cancer appeared and drastically altered the course of her career. Before cancer, she appeared in Bali's Jubilee, Peep Show starring Holly Madison, toured with the a cappella group The Sound Collage, and even sang with the Las Vegas Philharmonic under the direction of David Idkin. Her tongue and jaw were rebuilt in order to save her life using bone, skin, and muscle tissue from her leg. During the slow process of recovery, Elly began chronicling much of her thoughts and feelings on social media. Elly was shocked to discover that people connected to the content she created after her cancer treatment even deeper than before. Despite her speech impediment and the scars on her leg, neck, and face, one of her Facebook videos went viral just a few months after her treatment. Then another video went viral, and then another. In the years following her life-changing transformation, she continued making content online. Elly wanted to show her community that even someone with visible physical challenges could make a living as an on-camera personality. Soon after, Elly helped her fiancé, Rick Lax, form Network Media, and with the help of their hundreds of multi-talented performer friends, they began taking the internet by storm with skits, dramas, hacks, DIYs, cooking, and comedy videos. Her message of hope continues to inspire others to follow their dreams, despite scars, speech issues, and physical challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, welcoming Elly Brown.
Hello, James.
Hello, amazing Elly. Friend for years. So
It is
wonderful.
so it's wonderful to be here. Yes, my friend for years. I've known you since the year 2000,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
2001.
Right. Elly and I began our cruise careers together on the Costa Victoria a
Mm-hmm.
million years ago when the Earth was flat, and we're actually on board this vessel when the Twin Towers went down in
Yeah,
2001.
that's right. That's right. I will never forget that because we watched it happen on the BBC channel, which was the only channel available to us that had that coverage.
Yes. I remember getting off. That was the morning. That was usually where I made my phone calls home to mom and dad. We would get off
Yeah.
in Palermo, and I would
Hello,
use my
yep.
phone. I would use my phone cards and call home, just to tell you how long ago this was.
Oh yeah, we had like a brick cell phone thing and a SIM card.
That's it. And I would even use the cards that you could get at like the tobacco stores
Oh yeah, yep.
to use those to call home. And I called mom and dad. They're like, "Are you watching the news?" Like, "No, of course not. I'm off the ship. I'm calling you like I do every time, every week this time." Like, well, an airplane just flew into one of the World Trade Center towers. And while I was on the phone with mom and dad, the second one went down. And I was
Ah,
actually on the phone with him while they were discussing it and describing it. And about
um,
5 minutes later, you could not get a phone call through to the United States of America
no,
from anywhere else.
no,
Crazy.
I remember it well because my friends, who you know now, Kurt and Lynette, I
Yeah.
had left living with them in Staten Island to come on the ship with you. And when that was all going down, I called her and she was at home in Staten Island. Kurt had gone to an audition or something. And same. I said, "Have you watched the news? This is what's going on." And she got off the phone immediately and went and tried to find him. And yeah, it was a whole crazy thing.
Wow. And just so everyone
Yeah,
knows, Kurt was fine. Kurt is
yeah,
fine. He and
they're
Lynette are
both
still
fine.
married with children and living a very
Yeah,
happy and healthy life, just so everyone
yes,
knows. I would hate to leave that hanging. I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, by the way."
yeah. It was a scary couple of hours.
No
Yeah,
kidding. For
yeah,
so many of us, and it's just
yeah.
to know that we started there with such a dramatic beginning,
Mm,
and we have gotten to reconnect so many years later. For those listening, I currently live in Las Vegas because of Elly Brown. I was living in North Carolina and doing crazy videos for the internet because we were all trying to survive the pandemic. And I was doing cooking videos and workout videos. And Ellie reached out to me. She's like, I think that you would probably enjoy doing what we're doing out here. So I sold the house and loaded the car with what was left and made my way out west and have been living in Las Vegas ever since.
Yeah, and it took a while to get you too. I remember the first time I asked, you were a little bit more, what's the word? Trepidatious. Is that a word?
Absolutely.
Trepidatious?
I was a little more timid about the whole
Yeah,
thing. I don't
there's
know
no
how to use that word
trepidation.
in that context, to be honest.
Maybe I'm making it up. But yeah, then round two, I came back again and said, "Are you sure you don't want to come out and try this?" And some of the best creators have a similar story where it took me two tries to bring Getty in. A lot of people really enjoy what they're doing, and if you don't understand what it is we're doing, it can be kind of a strange world to try to slip into. So.
Exactly. And for those of you who are wondering, that's what we mentioned earlier in Ellie's bio. We work with Network Media, which deals with a lot of the entertaining videos that you watch on social media. Facebook is usually our our main platform.
Primary. Yeah.
Thank you, primary. That's the word I was going for. So if you've seen us, if you hear someone talking about Getty or Lynette and Kurt or Elly Brown, chances are you've seen these videos. And of course, Rick Lax, because everyone knows that name. So if you see and
It
enjoy those videos,
surprises
please
me how
know.
many. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, he's a superstar. Make no mistake. Because whenever I
Definitely.
mention that name, everyone's eyebrows go up. It's like, perfect. Uh, so after
Yeah,
all of this
it's
wonderful, oh, sorry, please.
no, that's it. That's it. Go ahead.
I just wanted to make sure, just to give everyone the background on what we're doing here. It's wonderful to be in Vegas. It's wonderful to reconnect with an old friend. Pardon me, a friend from the before times. I don't want to call you
Both.
old because you're
We
still a
we are both,
stunner. Make no
you
mistake.
know, we're getting up there, aren't we? Woo!
Aren't we, though? We're just
Hard
getting
to believe
better.
it. Better and better, like a fine line.
Agree. And it's one of those things where what we try to do here on Radical Joy, I think a lot of our listeners are very close to where you and I are in life. We've done a lot of wonderful things. We face a world that is full of challenges, and sometimes they get a little bit dark or difficult. And
Hmm.
we all face different kinds of challenges. I think that our challenges are as unique to each of us as our lives, as our fingerprints, as the people that we spend our time with. And to listen to your story and to know what you've been through, it is phenomenal the kind of help and light you put into the world after dealing with the challenges that life has dealt you. And what I wanted to do more than anything was just to bring you on, say hello, I love you, I'm grateful for the person you are and the opportunities you've given me, and to pay back maybe, or at least share a little of this platform with you so that the people listening will know the value that you have and how much wisdom and power your experiences give your story. And if you wouldn't mind just sort of letting us have it, I'm here to listen.
I'll do my best. Gosh, it's so crazy because I I was a singer, as you know. I loved modeling, on-camera hosting. I was sort of dipping into all these various segments of entertainment, and I had ever since I met you actually on the ship is when I started to notice that I had this white patch on my tongue that was not healing. And I didn't get a diagnosis until 2004 when an oral surgeon in North Carolina told me that I had an autoimmune disorder called lichen planus, Lichen planus, Planus. And that autoimmune disorder was essentially that area of my tongue would not heal. And so it was spreading. And over the years, I had other dentists and oral surgeons tell me, wow, I've seen life implantus before, but never like yours. Yours is the worst I've ever seen. And so that was never good. And it kind of felt like it was only a matter of time until something really bad happened. But it, at that time, there wasn't anyone who was going to swoop in and do anything to it. They weren't going to radiate that because it was already cells that were abnormal. They weren't, no one wanted to touch it with a knife. Because I was a singer and I had a career. So it was sort of the thing where I didn't get any serious treatment for it until I was diagnosed with cancer, which was in 2017. And that year, I was living here in Vegas, and they did kind of like a lumpectomy, right? They went in and they took the cancer out and they tried to get the margins. And then I kind of went on with life. And I continued to work that year. I had a slight speech impediment, nothing like what I have now. And I continued touring with my band and doing all these things. But by Christmas of that year, the pain was unbearable. And I had been back to the ENT, the one that did my surgery, saying, hey, I'm in a lot of pain. Well, that's normal. It's nothing. They biopsied it and told me that I did not have cancer. Now, interesting to note that like a year after that, I got a bill in the mail from a collections agency. It was like the radiology place that had dealt with that particular biopsy. They had me mixed up with someone else because I had never gotten a bill for that. And then this bill appeared and I was like, oh, they didn't have my phone number. They didn't know who I was. And I hope I'm explaining it properly. I know I'm probably missing details, but I kind of pieced together that particular place had probably sent me the wrong results. So they re-biopsied me, and of course it was bad. Of course it was aggressive. I was in so much pain that I couldn't sleep unless I had a hot water bottle and I was taking both ibuprofen and acetaminophen. I was messing up my gut and my body. It was really bad. So finally, Ricky, who's now my husband, says to me, I'm taking you to this cancer center here in LA. We're going to get this new doctor. We're going to then take you to UCLA. We're going to talk to doctors there. We're going to talk to doctors at MD Anderson. And he really advocated for me. And I just want to say, a lot of us feel guilty disrupting the apple cart. And had he not said to me, we are going to go disrupt the apple cart, I would be dead. Because I was willing to wait for whatever treatment, whatever the insurance company said, whatever the doctors here said. If I had not had him, I would not have gone looking for the person that was going to save my life. I would have waited to see what happens. Don't do that. Ever. Don't ever wait to see what happens. Nothing ever good happens. You're just like, let's see how it plans out. Figure out who survives, who they're seeing, why they survived, emulate their habits, as you know from working with us. Use the data. Use the data.
Yes.
So we went to UCLA, we went to MD Anderson, and ultimately I met the people that ended up saving my life. Dr. Elliot Abemeyer, who removed my tumor, and Dr. Irene Kim, who reconstructed my face. Thank you.
Stunning.
Thank you.
Right.
She was a young woman, younger than me. And I cannot tell you how grateful I am to have had someone so compassionate with their hands on me. Because if it had been, I'm not trying to like say, if it just had been the next little white man, you know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to be like that, but to have a woman younger than me working on me meant that she understood, oh, this woman's 30. She doesn't have kids yet. She's going to get married. Like, we have to make this good.
Yeah, you're right.
And she got in there and she made it so good. I could cry thinking about it. And one other really quick story, okay?
Yeah, please.
My husband and I, we play stuffed animals. I don't know if this is a thing you've ever done with loved ones. but we had a lot of stuffed animals and we talked to them. And one of them was Hen Friend. Hen Friend, Richie told me, had unfortunately the same type of beak cancer as I had. And one day, when I was in the hospital shortly after my surgery, Ricky saw Dr. Kim in Target buying a toothbrush. And he went up to her and he said, "Hey, I don't know if you know this, but we have this stuffed animal, Hen Friend. Hen Friend, unfortunately, has the same type of beak cancer as Elly. What can we do?" Dr. Kim's like, "Give her to me." He brings her to the hospital the next day. And 2 days after that, Dr. Kim brought me in my hospital room Hen Friend, who had had her surgery, same surgery as me, patch on the leg, a trach, and a scar just like mine. And these people that I was surrounded by during this time were just so beautiful and compassionate. And I can't spend enough time thanking Dr. Abemeyer and Dr. Kim for everything that they did for me. They gave me so much hope. They really restored me. And I'm so grateful. I feel as normal as someone who's been through all this can feel. And most of the time when I'm bopping around in my world, I'm not thinking about all these things I have to overcome. I've really gotten quite used to living this way, breathing this way, eating this way. And not only that, everything from May 26th, 2018 onward is me playing with house money. I'm just playing with house money. Everything that happens to me now is extra. And I got to tell you, the food tastes better. The air feels fresher. Like it's wonderful. It's really
Absolutely.
wonderful to be alive.
Oh my gosh, Elly, that's wonderful. Just a few things I want to drive home, please, because thank you so much for sharing your story. Number one, advocate for yourself, especially when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to your health. Do not be
100%.
afraid to upset the apple cart. Shake the shit out of it if you need to. Get people's attention. No one cares for your health more than you, and it is
Yeah.
absolutely well within your rights, especially with the wealth of human information at our fingertips 24/7. Advocate for yourself. Ask the hard questions. Make someone's life difficult if they choose to throw up a wall for you.
In
Do it.
person, if possible. In
Amen.
person. Look,
Show
it's
up.
a lot easier to say no on the phone. If you
Okay.
can go there and show them your face and show them your eyes and show them what you're living for, it's a game changer.
Amen. I love that. Make it difficult to say no to you. And being in the room is definitely a way to do that. Number two, compassionate healthcare. What a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, want to say, like, I don't want to be throwing this at anybody. I don't want to harm anyone who isn't Dr. Kim. What I want to do is praise Dr. Kim and people like her. And I will want
Yes.
to say this. I have heard many a story about women who have difficulty with their healthcare providers. And it's so
Yes.
wonderful. What a blessing to get someone who really takes your situation seriously and doesn't settle for good enough or that'll do, but wants to make sure that they give you the absolute top of the line healthcare as well as a heaping helping of compassion.
No
It's one of those
doubt.
things where please, please, please understand where this person is coming from. Try to empathize with their situation and not just heal them or make them where they were. Please understand that they are going through so much that we can't even see. And
Yeah.
please try to put yourself in their shoes and walk a mile with them. And that's
And
just
I do want to interject, James,
yeah,
and just
please.
say this is all coming from such a place of privilege. Obviously, getting yourself to a big cancer center that costs money, right?
Yes.
And the disparity between Caucasian people and women of color with oral cancer is disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And we've talked before about being recovering people pleasers and recognizing our privilege. And I can't say all that without also acknowledging my privilege and saying I'm very, very fortunate to have been able to go to a place where they ended up accepting my health insurance. I don't even know how that happened. And I have to thank the man upstairs because I don't know how that went down. Like I think it was that we had attempted treatment in Nevada
Mm-hmm.
and UCLA was the next step. But a lot of people won't even pursue that type of care because they assume that it wouldn't be paid for. But this is your life that
Yeah.
we're talking about. This is your life. You get none. So turn those rocks over, raise hell,
Yes.
and try. Just try.
Agree. This is not a time to just sort of settle and like, well, I'm just guessing that because I hear that, the insurance company is blah, 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 blah. Keep
Yeah,
calling. To, like you
that's
said,
right.
turn over the rocks. Keep calling until you find the person who knows the inside track, who knows the little tricks and turns to make sure that you get the service and the healthcare you need.
Yeah,
It is a very tricky obstacle course to navigate. I know, I've heard. Knock on wood, I agree. I come from a place where I'm just like, I'm so lucky to have been so healthy for a very large part of my life that I haven't had to
yeah,
worry about it. It's one of those things that should I have to deal with that in the future, I pray that that I will persevere, that I will continue
yeah.
to call back and keep working on something like that so that I get the healthcare that I need. And I'm
You
honestly
would,
grateful.
because you love life, and there's always something to love about life. I'm I see how people that go through this treatment, disfiguring the speech, the eating, the breathing, it can really throw a wrench into radical joy. And
Yeah.
it's a thing that you have to choose. You have to put down. Um, I say this with a lot of compassion. You have to put down feeling sorry for yourself. You have to, because you can carry that, and I understand very well what you get out of it. It can feel good to be in that place in some way,
Yeah.
which is why our ears are attracted to it. But there is so much to love about life. Books, theater, art, your favorite TV shows, concerts, time with friends, time at home, time with pets, time.
Time. I was
Time.
waiting for you to get to just that. I was like, just time to do with
Look,
whatever you
once
like.
that goes away, once that gets down to the nub, you really do realize what's important and you start chasing those things a lot more aggressively.
Yeah.
And even with all the social media and the company and all of that, I derive most of my joy now from just hanging out with myself, being being on my own, being with my pets, reading my books, taking my walks, being on my sewing machine. Like I think people look at this life that we do and they're thinking about like how is it glamorous, like because you see it on social media, it's like a highlight reel of everyone's lives, but really that's its own thing. And then you have this other thing which is just like living in the world, living in the real world.
Yeah.
And it's a different thing. And just the simpler it is, the quieter it is. You're not trying to prove anything, excuse me, to anyone. You're not living for other people. You're really in your, you know, the you're in the world that you create for yourself up here.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
have to be happy there, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you do. And that I would love to just tell our listeners for just a minute. We went to lunch, I guess, about a year ago or something, because I was honestly, I was a little nervous because I know there were a lot of things going on in both of our lives. And I just kind of wanted to check in. I wanted to share with a
Oh yeah.
friend because my life was being a little bit tricky. And I want to check in with you because it seemed like there were some stories swirling around about how you were doing. I was like, hey, what's going on? And you made it very clear in no uncertain terms, and you're like, oh, let me just tell you, I'm doing great. Gave me alphabetized list of typewritten reasons why, and put me right on the path immediately. And I was like, I beg your pardon because I misread this entire situation. And I bring that story up to illustrate the fact that, like, sometimes what we hear through the grapevine is not the source information. That's
Oh
what
yeah.
some people put on you because they see you struggling with something or see you dealing with something that they could not have. And so they assume that you will also be having the same struggle. And whenever you go to the source, just like you would with an insurance company or a
Yeah.
healthcare provider, and you're like, hey, this is what I see. Is that what's really happening? You can be put on the straight and narrow again very quickly. Put those worries aside. Be happy for your friend that they found this peace and this strength and this joy. And be like,
Mhm.
oh, cool. Well, then all of that time and energy that I was spending worrying about
Right.
something that you didn't need, let me instead flip that and be like really proud to know this person who is a warrior who steps up as like, oh yeah, that was a problem, but we sorted it like in short order. Thanks. Don't need
Yeah.
it. Glad you asked. So now I can tell you we're cool. It's like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
And the things that
It's
you continue. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, definitely, like, their life can be a bit of a roller coaster. I think everyone encounters challenges with loved ones and friends and the shape of your world. And I think as soon as you realize that something's not working and you're unhappy, I don't know if you go through this, but sometimes it takes me a while to catch up, right? Identifying what those issues are. And then when you take care of them, you're like, oh,
Right?
oh, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
just needed the boundary up and
Amen. Oh,
and protect your
boundary.
peace.
Boundary up
Yeah,
and protect your peace. That's going
you
in the
got a
show
boundary up.
notes.
Look,
Absolutely.
again, recovering people pleaser. I think I used to be the type of friend that would literally do anything to show another friend, like, I got you. What do you need? I'm here for you. And I love that attitude. It's an admirable attitude. But I think I've gone a step further in my growth now, where once I see that the situation is not what I thought it was, once I realize that there's chaos around me that is detracting from my life rather than adding to it, it is a lot easier now for me to walk away from that and be like, I'm good. I'm going to be over here. Bye. And you
Absolutely.
really have to make the world that you want to live in. So if things aren't going the way that you like, go to sleep, wake up, and do other things.
Amen. Ooh, I cannot get behind this any harder if I tried. I love that. We continue to talk about these things whenever we're in Radical Joy. Several different episodes that we've done. It's just like reassess your situation, continue to check in
Yeah.
with yourself, make sure you're happy. If you're not, ask why. And don't just ask, wait until you find your answer. And what you just said, go to sleep, wake up, and fix it.
Yeah.
It
Well,
really does.
I think too, it has to do with finding the answers inside yourself.
Mhm.
When you are, trying to save relationships or friendships that aren't serving you, and you're giving and giving and giving, and it's taken for granted, not appreciated, not wanted, frankly, or they make you worse, they make you feel like you're giving in order to control them,
Mhm.
like cruelty.
Yeah.
And I'm not about cruelty. I'm not about, you know, I want my friends to know I'm there for them. But now I see a lot of value in saying, like, hey, like, you have to go find this happiness, and I'm gonna go find mine. And not look to our friends and the person that we're in a relationship with to make us happy. Our happiness is our job. We're entirely responsible for it, and we can't be responsible for theirs. There's no way we can be responsible for theirs. So I would say if you have a friend that's going through something and their life is chaotic, it's okay to say, I have to step away from the chaos. And for a people pleaser, that sounds like sacrilege. It's like, no, if your friend's having chaos, you should be there for them. No, you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You should step away and let the hurricane pass, because I guarantee you will get caught up in it, and it will make you very, very sad and unhappy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. That is wonderful, solid counsel. No, you don't have to get caught up in the hurricane. You don't have to get caught up in the drama. You can be an anchor for them, but they have to step away from it, and you have to wait for that to pass, because while they're in it, trying to pull them out of it is an exercise in futility. They have to find their calm center, and then the two of you, oh, wow, Elly, yeah, thank you. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, sorry, I'm still kind of marveling over that one. I was like, yeah, because again, like you said, as recovering people pleasers, it's one of those things. It was like, well, let me be your anchor. Let me be the solid whenever all these other things are kind of swirling around. And I get accused. My friend Carrie, who's producer of the show, she's always talking about how, I have this savior complex, because you see someone having a problem. You see someone where you're like, well, you can step in and make this better.
Guilty.
Right?
Yep, I've been guilty.
Can I? Probably. Make it better. Am I going to fix it? Absolutely not. Fixing it, that lies with the person who's having the issue. Can I take their burden for a moment and try to help them with it? Sure. How often?
Yeah, you can
That's a
always
boundary.
listen.
Yeah.
You can always listen. But yeah, I think, definitely having boundaries and saying, I can spend more time away from this chaos. Chaos is not good. It's not good for anyone, but especially anyone that has visionary ideas, artistic ideas, entrepreneurial ideas. If there's chaos in your life, get rid of it. It is not going to serve you. And it feels so harsh. I think there's so many parallels too between kind of the life journey and the artistic journey. And when we over identify with our work, over identify with our partner, over identify with our friends, who am I if I don't have this boyfriend or this girlfriend? Who am I if I'm not friends with this person? Then what's my life? If you don't know, you have to go figure it out. And you can only do that by spending more time alone. Time alone is a lovely thing. A lovely thing. Yeah, and I think when you spend that time, you figure out who you are and what you want, it's way easier to walk away from those situations, and it's way easier to have fun with people who are really your friend.
Oh, wow. Whew. See, I knew having you on here was going to be such a good idea. I love
I
that
always love
idea.
talking to you, James.
Same. You blow me up like none other. I was like, Elly Brown makes me feel like I'm on a cloud, and I dig it. The word that you used was over-identify, and I think that is such an important thing to think about, because I did not know the word for what I was trying to say, and you just gave it to me. Over-identify. If I over-identify with my partner, if I over-identify with my job, if I over-identify with my cultural identity, meaning like a Southerner or a football fan or whatever, that can lead to something that is not necessarily healthy. You have to be able to stand alone, and these things are extensions of you and things you love and things you definitely invest your time and energy and effort into. They are not necessarily you. That is its own thing.
100%. And, I loved being a singer. I loved doing that job. I loved the life that I created. But I was surprised at how easy it was. Not easy. Easy is the wrong word. How simple it was. It was not easy, but it was simple to stop identifying as a singer. I think everyone in my world thought that that was going to break me like a twig. It didn't. Having relationships go sour, that is a thing that has hurt in my life. That's the thing um, that has felt like it took something away from me. Not being a singer or being an actor or being on camera, you know, the universe is a magical place where I feel like I've shown that if you really want those things, you can have them. But what I've come to realize is that I'm not about chasing those things, that identity as a singer or as a actor. I think what I really want is simplicity and peace. And I didn't know about that until all of this happened to me. I was having a very complicated life. And look, when we're young, we have this capacity for drama. We all go through it. And at some point, you look at yourself running around the mental hamster wheel and you're like, is it really worth all of that? Like, I can sit down with my book right now. I can make a jacket on my sewing machine. I can make a quilt. And then I have this thing that I can give to someone that I've
Yes.
done. Yeah. You can find happiness in a lot of places. And the moment we over-identify with any one thing, I think that's when it gets really hard.
Agree. I think that's so beautiful. People have asked me, and in the last few years, I've really come to cling to this and really believe it to be true. I enjoy my own company. Being
Yeah.
alone is not a punishment. It isn't ostracism. What it is that peace. And I love getting to do those things, whether it's writing or reading or singing or doing whatever it is that I love to do as just my own person, as the
Yeah.
cheese standing alone.
Mm-hmm.
I still love it. Now, I love time with friends. I'm so lucky. My friend group is absolutely phenomenal. I am blessed beyond measure with amazing people who are fascinating and following their own passions and are examples of incredible left, right, and center. And then there are
Yeah.
still times where I love getting to spend that time by myself, just sort of centering and continuing to ask the question, who am I today? What is it that I'm chasing? How close am I? How much effort do I need to expend on a daily basis consistently in order to reach and or exceed that goal?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that the time that we spend asking those questions and really putting pen to paper, I mean, honest to goodness, I'm serious about really literally putting pen to paper to make these lists and these plans of action, it would stun you. Not you, Elly Brown, but just you in general, how
Yeah.
quickly those things can come to fruition. You're like, oh my gosh,
Oh
like I
yeah.
had no
Oh
idea this
yeah.
was so close. Dude, it's literally around the corner. Like if I took 3 more steps, I could peek the hiney tail of it, like sticking out from around that corner. And it boggles the mind how
Yeah.
easy this is if you just give it a moment and let the chaos, like you said, of the world sort
Yeah.
of subside. You look inside. You look to find the parts of you that you love that you may have lost sight of, and you continue to make those reconnections and you strengthen them. And then eventually you see where your goals lie, see how close or how far, and you make those small consistent steps so that you become what it was you wanted to be whenever you were dreaming about it however long ago.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
magic. It is
It
it is
is.
miraculous.
And you're absolutely right that you have to name it and take it. And I think what I learned after the dust settled was I've loved being a singer. I miss it very much, especially in group harmonic situations, but I can still do it. And I'm not chasing it down like a cheetah because I don't love it as much as I think maybe I even thought I did. I think I love a lot of other things, and spreading my focus out has been a good thing for me. I don't sit around thinking about how I'm not a professional singer ever. I
Right.
I wouldn't I wouldn't choose that life now. Like I got a gift when I got sick.
Mhm.
And I don't want to return that gift. Like it was a good gift. I'm keeping it. I wouldn't go back.
Right.
I wouldn't go back. So yeah,
Agree.
and
And
a touch of hypocrisy because I'm partnered, I'm married,
Okay.
I'm in a stable relationship and I have a safety there, but we spend a lot of our own individual time, and I wouldn't
Sure.
have it any other way, you know?
I think some of the most
It's
successful partnerships are exactly like that. You enjoy the time you get to
yes.
spend together, and you're also very protective of the time that you get individually. It's
Yeah.
not that you're abandoning your partner, it's just you value that time as individuals. So in that way, you can grow individually and then bring what you've learned or how you've grown to your partnership to share that with your person. I
Yes.
love that. Some of the healthiest relationships I know operate on exactly that system.
And
If
I
you don't,
love
oh, sorry.
no, just to say, like, I love to travel, and I'll often travel without him. I'm headed up, to the house that I grew up in December, and I cannot wait. I'm gonna spend a week up there with my family, and, yeah, weird thing, I think I told you this. Did you know this, James, that I last year was able to buy the house that I grew up in?
No.
It's the best thing. It's the most delightful thing that's
Oh,
happened in 20 years. It,
oh,
eh, I can't talk about radical joy. Like everyone says you can't go home,
yeah.
And I knew when I bought it, and I knew when I got the keys that I was not going to walk in and see my dad. My dad's gone. But what we have done with it and built for my nieces, nephews, my siblings and their spouses, where we can get together. Like there's been nothing better, nothing in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy. I'm so happy I get to go there. I'm so happy that I have a partner that understands that I want to be there and doesn't mind me leaving to take these extended sojourns to see them.
Sure.
it's it's really fantastic.
That is wonderful. And I would love to take just a moment to say, hey, you know what? A home is not four walls and a roof
Yeah,
and a porch. Those are wonderful things that house a home. The home is the people. The home is the
yeah,
love. The home is the feeling and the connection that you make, whether it's people who've been part of your bloodline or whether it's people that you have chosen and wake and continue to choose as your family. It
absolutely.
four walls do not a home make. The fact that you own it and that the ghosts of memories that lived there before continue to
Oh
haunt
yeah,
this in a wonderful way.
in a
You know,
wonderful way.
it's not any sort of foreboding or anything dark or shady at all. It's this warm, loving memory that sort of that lights it from the inside with sort of like an amber glow in my mind when I
Yeah,
think of it. How what a gift. Not just for
it,
you, but for everyone that's connected to you in that way.
it's
Ah,
been incredible. One of the first things that we did after we fixed it up a bit and threw some paint, we decorated it with mixed tiles of all the old photos. So the old photos of family members long gone away, um, photos of my siblings' children, just everything that between living there and now. And post lots of photos of my dad, who I think would be so tickled. I think he would be so tickled. And he's not there, but I feel him there. He's in me, and he's in my brothers and my sister and my mom. And he comes with us whenever we're there
yeah.
and whenever we're together.
And I love those little surprises, those little mementos. You know, even though his presence is not here literally, there could be something in your brother's smile, something in your nieces and nephews, just the way that they laugh at a certain, a dad joke. You know, kitty
Yeah.
humor and dad humor is very similar. Those kind of things that bring those sort of like sepia toned memories to mind, even though he is not physically present, he is very
Yes,
much a part of the gathering. And that is so
absolutely.
wonderful. Now I just gotta
Yeah.
know though, how many pots of corn chowder have you made in this home now?
Two so far.
Yeah, amazing. When Ellie and I
Yeah,
were discussing about getting together for the podcast, one of the things that we were like, what's one of these things like a simple pleasure type situation? And you mentioned the corn chowder, and I could not wait to get you on
yeah.
her side. I would like to know more about this, please. Tell me about this corn
Okay,
chowder.
look, it's so easy to make. the thing that makes it so good is that you put the bacon and the onions first in the fry pan,
Uh-huh.
and then you get it into the pot and you add potatoes and cream corn and whole kernel corn and a little bit of cream.
Mhm.
And you can add salt and pepper and some spice, but really it should be very, very simple. And look, it never tastes the same as when my mom makes it. When my mom makes it, that's what it is. I've made it at home. I've even riffed off of the recipe. I've done like a autumn version of it with red onion and sweet potato.
Oh,
It's not the same.
yeah.
Just Terry Brown has to make it.
And that is it. That is the thing, and I love that. I love that so much. Ellie and I were talking about this because we have like a little briefing moment before we push the record button.
Yeah.
And pardon me whenever I say these kind of things. I only say it because it definitely plays into what we're talking about. Ellie and I have lived such full lives. I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
I know she is because that's always a topic of conversation when the two of us get together in the same room, whether
Oh
breaking
yeah.
bread, sipping coffee, or enjoying a macaron. Like it's just what we do. And just to be so incredibly bougie like that to say enjoying a macaron, I was like, okay,
Macaron.
Bullard, like settle down. But we have been so many places and we've done so many things. We've eaten at fine restaurants and we've just gotten to live so fully in so many different places in this beautiful, magical world, which is why we can come here and tell anyone listening that there's just so much magic in the world if you're only willing to look for it. And there's something still so unbelievably original and beautiful and perfect about a simple soup that your mother made that will never taste the same anywhere else you get it.
Mhm.
That you
Mhm.
can go to the Michelin star restaurants, that you can go to some of the finest dining establishments in the world, you can eat at the Four Seasons, any of these things that is unbelievably what an experience. Oh my goodness, head and shoulders of the world's cuisine. And there is still something so nourishing and delicious and perfect and grounding and solid in going home to
Yeah.
have that one simple dish that the person you love best in the world makes for you since you were knee
Yeah.
high to a teaspoon.
Mhm. That's right.
And it's just it's about knowing the simplicity of something and loving it for being simple. And then
Yeah.
knowing the fancy of something and loving it for being special and knowing that
Yeah.
they're both so good.
They're valid and good. It's like The Alchemist, where you
Ah,
travel the world and come back and the thing that you wanted was at home the whole time, but it wouldn't be the same having not taken the journey. And um, my niece, she's 11. And the last time I went to England to visit her, she said to me as she hugged me at the airport, she said, "Aunt Ellie, even though we only see you maybe once or twice a year, that's what makes our visits so cherishable."
oh my goodness.
Slayed me, killed me. Oh, but
Uh-huh.
she's 100% right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we get to see the way that the world is and enjoy the cup of life, drinking from the cup of life, you realize that those people and those relationships are they're the core of it all. They're central to it. And all that other stuff, you could travel to all four corners of the earth and it would all be meaningless if you didn't have them, you know?
Agree. Agree. It's funny you said cherishable. Also, everything is so much more dramatic sounding with a British accent because they live in the UK. She's 11. She's like, "Oh, Aunt Ellie." I was like, "Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I'm giving it the Downton Abbey flavor." And I know that's way too
Yeah.
much, but it just cracks me up the word cherishable coming out of an 11-year-old's mouth. I remember
Yeah.
whenever I was back in Alabama, and I'm an only child, so I don't really have nieces and nephews, but I call a lot
Oh,
of my
right.
cousins children or whatever my nieces and nephews. And it's like, I am birthday cake. Your mother and your father and the people who are here close to you all your life are the meat and potato and
Uh,
vegetable and that. I said, whenever I get to come home to visit to Alabama, I am birthday cake. I said, please
mhm.
understand, I love you. I want to see you do well. I said, I am the special occasion, fun, colorful,
Yeah.
probably just small doses are fine kind of relative. And mom and dad are the ones who are here every day and in the trenches and doing the things that make you a strong, solid person and a good member of your community. And I will come in to make sure you're having lots and lots of fun. And
Yeah.
whenever you feel as though maybe some things you may or may not want to share with them because of whatever reason, I'm a safe place. I'm a spot because I'm also going to be leaving. I'll be going out to do whatever it is that I'm going to be doing. And this is somewhere where you can say it. No judgment, all
Mhm.
curiosity, all protection because I love you and I want to see you do well. And I will make sure to do the best job I can in steering you in the right direction.
It's so wonderful for your kids to have that, I think. So, so, so wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that, the relationship children have with us, especially as nieces and nephews, are the same way that I feel we need to be as people.
Mhm.
Your partner in your relationship is not sufficient to take care of all of your emotional needs.
Yeah.
You need a tribe. Now, that is your person. That's your favorite person, and that's great. That person is like the top of the list. And you need others that are good for whatever else that maybe they're not the best at or don't
Yeah.
necessarily want to be responsible for handling. Cool.
Yeah. Look, everyone has a different skill set. No shame, no judgment.
That's
Yeah.
it. And I love being old enough now to see the wisdom in that. It's not fair. I don't think it's fair to expect that out of somebody, and
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that once
no,
you find
it's not.
somebody else, yeah, it's like, "Okay, sure, we're good with this."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, most definitely. I'm a big proponent of slow love. You know, take your time. Know that it's right. Because if you feel that you have something to prove or that you have to show the world that you're in love, that's not for your partner, that's for you. And that was a hard learned lesson for me. Um, but there's so much value in it, and yeah, it's it's hard to talk to kids about relationships because there's some things that life has to teach you. You can't read it in a book or be told and really understand until it kind of knocks you upside the head. And then you go
true.
back and you're like, oh yeah, that's what Uncle James meant by that.
Exactly, and that's just it, and
Yeah,
I've learned because there are a lot of things because they're my family, they're related, which means they're just as hard-headed as I ever was. So, yeah, my parents and people who love me try to spare me that pain, but there's also a part that's like, "You know what? That pain didn't kill me. It
yeah,
taught me valuable lessons that I learned on my own. Could I have avoided it if I'd listened? Yes. Would I have learned the lesson as fully or as deeply? No. Would I have valued
yeah,
it as much? Probably not.
mm,
The things you work for are the things you value.
yeah.
And I still to this day I value those kind of things. Yes, it would have been easier if I could have just listened. But no, thick-headed son of a mother. Yeah, you have to learn some
Hey,
things
no,
on your own.
no one can begrudge you your journey. You know,
Thank you for that. I love
the
that
journey
too.
is yours.
No matter what. Oh my
You
god. Ellie,
gotta go
thank
through
you
it.
so much for being with us today.
I'm so happy to, James. I could talk to you another 3 hours and it'd be like no time is passing at all. I just love
At
you so much.
all. And I'm glad you
You're an
said that
incredible
because
human, and
I'm gonna
thank you for
invite you.
putting your joy out in the world. That's
Oh, I,
yeah.
I think I would hurt if I didn't. These hour-long sessions I get to spend with my people that I love so well make this so easy, make this so fun. And I'm hoping that some of the things that we've talked about today will also pluck a chord in somebody's heart that's listening. Because
I
we're
hope
so
so too.
lucky. If this is your first time listening, welcome. You've picked the perfect time to step into radical joy. If
Hmm.
this is not your first episode, welcome back. We're so glad you came back to join us again for another segment of what we're trying to do for the good we're trying to put in the world because gosh knows we face challenges. Our plates are full. And sometimes it's hard to keep those things spinning. So whenever you join us and you tune in, please know that we appreciate you. We're glad you're here. And we're hoping that something that we say drove you to a passionate enough feeling that maybe you're talking back to the car or your phone or and also great. That is exactly why we are here doing what we're doing. If you're the kind of person who loves to make a review, please review us on whatever platform where you're listening. Give us 5 stars. Send us a screenshot. We would love to send you some swag. It's probably going to be a sticker. It's going to have my face on it. Put it on a water bottle, put it on a journal, a laptop, wherever you like to stick a sticker. And as always, friends, please, please, please know how much we appreciate your support. And never forget, we love y'all.